right, good evening, everyone. And I want to thank you for coming tonight. It's a great privilege to host you this evening. We're live both on Instagram and on Zoom. Uh, for those on Zoom, thank you for being here. For those on Instagram, thank you also for being to make progress. Uh, Welcome, and just a few minutes to allow people joining. Uh, Thank you. I feel very excited already about this. There's a lot of things that happened in the build up to today. Um, a lot of things that the build up has been very phenomenal for me. I I imagine uh, how you feel, because for me, preparing for this event alone is a series. Preparing for it alone was very awesome for me, and just in a bit I would begin to share, but just to allow people join. For those on Instagram, we're recording, and so we will be able to give you um, we'll be able to share the thoughts with you as we progress. For those on Instagram, yes, I'm sure you'll also be able to gain access to the recording. Uh, and so it's becoming a consultant to Kings. Very interesting topic that I have chosen to share. And on the dot, in about 4 minutes, I will commence to begin to speak on the topic. I'll attempt to speak for about 40 minutes. I'll attempt to speak for about 40 minutes. After speaking for 40 minutes, I will then share. I will then share. I will expect you to maybe make comments and all of that. So, for now, in about 3 minutes, let's just allow people to join. On Instagram, the number is increasing, and on Zoom also at the same time, the number is increasing. And beyond those who are here, I'm sure many more people will have access to this. You'll have access to this material, and it's a three-part material. And just when we start, I'll give you a lot more detail about it. And so I'm excited to do this September 11, 2020 AD. So just in about 2 minutes, I'll start. Let me give room for more people to join. But while I do that, let me play you something cool music just so you participate. It's not going to be more than an hour. Instagram doesn't give us more than an hour. It's not going to be more than that. But yes, so just in about 2 minutes, we will begin. So enjoy the music for a few minutes, just for 2 minutes, and then I will start. DJ, I see you. Avu, I see you. Thank you all for joining. Bukola Elisha, thank you. Pastor Tokwe Rusheru, I see you. Thank you very much. Ayodeji Babatunde, thank you. Gladness, thank you also. In the crushing, thank you. In the pressing, you will make it new wine. In the soil I now surrender. You are breaking new ground. So I yield to you into your careful hand. When I trust you, I don't need to understand. right, so it's time to go. I'm so excited. I mean, that song was a prayer. That song at the same time was a desire that I have for everyone, and I hope that we will join. Now, let's begin. Today I'll be sharing on what I've captioned "Becoming a Consultant to Kings." Becoming a consultant to kings. I'll be sharing what I call proven principles for helping people of influence solve their problems. And I'll give you a bit of background from how this came to be. I was having a study some time ago, and I was trying to find out how exactly have the people of influence, when I mean people of influence, I mean people in authority, how have they been able to solve their problems? Because from a few of them that I have closely worked with, I realized that it's not like they have answers to all the challenges they face, but I see that they always turn out to be successful. And turning out to be successful for me has always hinged on how people help them or how they found help through other people. And so I'll be sharing what I call proven principles for helping people of influence solve their problems. For those on Zoom right now, you can see my screen. I'm sharing my screen with you, and so you can see my notes. So there are proofs to show that leaders need guidance, and leaders need a lot of support in the discharge of their assignment, whether they be in the corporate world, or they be in the religious setting, or they are educational, or they are in the political scenarios of life. Presidents of corporations and nations all the way, they always surround themselves with brilliant people that can provide a greater insight into myriad issues. Thus, they help them to influence the results and outcomes. I mean, particularly, I saw something in the 1937 Brownlow's Committee in the United States of America. Brownlow's Committee recommended that a lot of changes needed to come into effect in the office of the United States President. And in doing that, they recommended, or they even said in their report, that the president needs help. They quoted it, that the president needs help. And this report led to the creation of roles for advisors, for consultants, for special assistants in the office of the President of the United States. And so let me bring a bit of clarification into the concept that I'm using tonight to begin this three-part presentation. The first is that a consultant in this context for me would mean an advisor, one who performs his role based on the quality of his credentials, based on his personality, his skills, his knowledge, his experience, his expertise in the place of personal or organizational need. So, I mean, this person is an advisor. And so many of us need to understand that whenever people try to access the capacities within our competence, talking about the quality of our credentials, the validations we've seen in our skills, our knowledge, our experiences, our expertise, they see us as advisors, right? And so let's use that as a consultant. Now, I figuratively use the word kings here to represent people in the place of authority. So kings here do not mean literal kings or rulers. I've used them here figuratively to represent people in the place of authority. And these are individuals who will significant influence in diverse areas of life, beginning with themselves, beginning with their families, beginning with their organization, and it transcends to nations, and it transcends to even to groups of nations that you may find. And the pictures of these people of power, the picture that we have of these people of power suggests to us that they are strong and largely independent in their thoughts. And that's what we see. When you talk about people of power, you think that they are strong, they do not have a need, they are independent in the way they think, they don't have any problems at all. But the truth of the matter is that these people that are largely independent in their thoughts, there's a need for them also to find help, because their perception oftentimes is flawed. That perception that they don't need help, that perception that they are that they are strong, that perception that they are capable of everything is flawed in that the fact that the victories and the possible failures that many people of influence have experienced is largely due to the counsel by the advisors or consultants. And in the space of these 3 weeks that I'll be sharing, these 3 Fridays, I'll open us up and I'll give it access to some of this information. So becoming a consultant to kings is actually within your reach as an individual, provided you possess the requisite knowledge, provided you possess the requisite experience in helping renowned people in their times of need. Ladies and gentlemen, men of influence, women of influence have their times of need. They need help. And you don't even need to be an expert. Your basic requirement to helping people solve problems, the basic requirement in helping people find answers to their problems, to the bugging issues of their life, is just that ability to be able to translate vision to reality. And you can only translate vision to reality by leveraging on human, non-human, and material resources. I mean, it was Warren Bennis that said that leadership is the translation of vision into reality. It's not enough to see, you must experience. And many of these individuals that are in the place of authority have capacity to see, but the obstacles on their way needs other people to support them to achieve the goal. And so becoming a person of influence requires that you are equipped with principles, requires that you are equipped with skills and the knowledge that are applicable. And today I will endeavor to share the insights with you, starting from today and then across the 3 weeks. And so let me run to the first part. And today's part one. And what I'll be sharing with you here today is about unveiling your capacity to solve problems. I want to focus on you. In fact, if you look at the title, Becoming a Consultant to Kings, about you turning around to become someone. And so the focus is on you, not necessarily the kings, not necessarily the people of authority or the people in authority or the people in power. The key here is you. Okay? So in this first part, I will unveil what I call the unveiling your capacity to solve problems. And the first place to start in your journey to problem solving for people is to look within and agree with yourself that you are worth taking up such challenge. Many of us have discounted ourselves as being able, as being worthy, as being capable, as being sufficient to help people in power or help people in places of influence or people of authority. And so the first place to start the journey into solving problems is to look within. The first law of success that I learned from Pastor Sam Adeyemi says, first within and then without. First within and then without. You've just got to look within you and then without. If you can solve it within, then you can do something without. Okay? All right. So I'll identify certain elements for us in this conversation. I'll identify the elements of your capacity and what you need to do with this competence. So that's the two broad areas I'll share today. And then next week, Friday, I'll open us up to more things. And then on the upper Friday, 25th, I'll wrap it all up with some of the key principles, tested and proven principles. And so now let's look at the influencers of your capacity. As we're unveiling your capacity to solve problems, let's look at the elements of your capacity or the influencers of your capacity. Ladies and gentlemen, your capacity to deliver results is hinged on a few things. I think I've identified 5 of them in this presentation. And let me start with attributes. Number 1, attributes. There is something unique about you that causes people to desire your service. There's something unique about you that causes people to desire your service. See, you have got traits that qualify you. You've got traits that qualify you as a rallying point for solution seekers. So when people who are seeking solution gather, everything. There's something about you that makes them to come towards you. All right. So you have traits that qualify you as a rallying point for solution seekers. You need to carefully identify these attributes and develop them. You need to also develop the ones that are needed but are not apparent about you. I mean, there are certain traits that you need to have, but you don't have. So it's important to identify these traits and then, develop them. So I'll give you a few traits that you need, that the people of influence are looking out for. I mean, because of experience that I've had, and because of some research I've done, and I've tried to inquire from some of those people in authority, I realized a couple of things are important. Number one attribute is you need to be an advancing personality. You see, being purposeful is a trait that guarantees results in every human endeavor. Being purposeful. You've got to be very purposeful. As you position yourself to support others to excel in their assignment, you must keep your focus on the essence of the task. See, friends, productivity is often lost because of irresolute activity. Productivity is often lost because of irresolute activity. When we are not purposeful, then certain things that we intend to pursue or achieve become lost. And so, the first attribute that the people of influence look out for is for you to be purposeful. Be an advancing personality. Number two is that you must be a contribution-driven person. The second attribute is to be a contribution-driven person. You see, you need to demonstrate the ability to collaborate and cooperate with others. You cannot produce results alone. In fact, if you produce results alone, you may not really go far. So the second attribute that the people of influence are looking for is for you to demonstrate the ability to collaborate and cooperate with others to produce results. Your motivation at work must show the readiness to work with others. You see, one of us is not better than the rest of us. And so, yes, you may be the epitome or you may be the fountain of the solution or the idea, but you see, you must learn to collaborate. You must learn to cooperate, because one of us as a team is not better than the rest of us. We need one another. So the third attribute that would make you attractive and charming to the people of influence is to be self-improvement oriented. See, friends, your contribution in life will always be limited to the things you know. Your contribution in life will always be limited to the things you know. You are not good enough to remain the way you are. You are not. I am not good enough to remain the way I am. And that's why self-improvement, lifelong learning becomes important. In fact, your commitment to lifelong learning is one of the greatest investments you can ever make to yourself. The gains in self-improvement are priceless. Priceless gains. So please always remember, you are not good enough to remain the way you are. And that's why the third attribute that these people of influence, people of authority would desire to see is that you must be self-improvement oriented. Number four, the fourth attribute is that you must be sensitive to opportunities and then be adaptable. You must be sensitive to opportunities. See, friends, being creative about the demands of situations is what these people look out for. They put you in a situation where you, as you're making progress towards solving that problem, you encounter challenges. You've got to be creative about it. You see, you need to demonstrate the ability to be responsive to change. See, many of us are fixated on plans. Many of us are fixated on approaches. This is what we say we are going to do. Many of us find our words to be so infallible that we are not quick to change. We live in a world today that is rapidly changing. And except you are adaptable, except you are sensitive, and except you can be very creative, you will miss out on the opportunities. In fact, many organizations, and my focus here is on people though, many people have not changed, even though the world around them is changing. And guess what? They are not left static. They are left behind because people have moved. And so the fourth attribute that the people of influence are looking forward to is they want to see that you're sensitive to opportunities, are adaptable. Okay? Did you lose me for a second? Am I back?
You did, yes.
Am I back up?
Yes, sir. You're back now.
Oh, really?
But we've lost the comment screen.
Oh, I should share my screen again, right?
Please, kindly reshare your screen. We can't see it.
All right, I'll do that again. Yeah. Doc, you need to. For those on Instagram, forgive me. I'm talking to those on Zoom at the same time. So, Doc, you need to enable me to share my screen.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. Thank you. So we're back up now.
Many of the machine learning methods for classification can be adapted to do regression.
Okay,
instead.
somebody needs to mute.
Either way, building these kinds of predictive models supervised learning. Supervised because you're training the model on.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I'm back up. Good. You know, technology, you're trying to do two things at the same time. So let's work it out. So I was talking about being sensitive to opportunities and adaptable. I said that's the fourth attribute that the people of influence needs to have. Femi, can you hear me now? Femi, just confirm you can hear me on Instagram, can you? I'm sure you should be able to hear me. Okay, you can hear, fine, great. Oh, fine, everyone can hear me now, great. So, okay, so let's go to the fifth attribute. Great. The fifth attribute is growth focused. You see, we're talking about unveiling your capacity to solve problems. And I said there are certain influencers of your capacity, and I talked about your attributes. And I said number one is your attribute. And I've tried to list a few attributes that you need to get this job done. Number one, I say you need to be an advancing personality, that is, be purposeful. Number two, I say you need to be contribution driven. Number three, I said you need to be self-improvement oriented. And number four, I said you need to be sensitive to opportunities and adaptable. Number five is that you need to be growth focused. You see, your ability to sustain good outcomes, your ability to sustain, the key word here is sustain. Your ability to sustain good outcomes is a trait that is worthy of emulation. You see, people of influence want to associate with those that are focused on progress. It's not enough to look for perfection. Many of us want to be perfect. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is actually to progress, because success in itself is exceeding every height that we attain. And so growth focus here means no matter the limit, no matter where you have hit, no matter what target you've hit, you've achieved or attained, you can still do more. You can still go more. Go further. You see, goals are expandable. All right? So people of influence want to associate with those that are focused on progress. You need to show consistency in the way you get things done. You need to show consistency in the way you get things done, because consistency is the mark of champions. Now let me talk about two more attributes, and then I get to the second influencer of your capacity. Resourcefulness, the next trait. You see, knowing how to generate solutions is a force of attraction to any person of influence. That you are not going to be stranded when they leave you in the middle of a problem is something that is very attractive. You see, you must be able to show that you are a creative force. You know how to draw from all sides. You know how to source things. You want to demonstrate your giftedness in your quick-wittedness. They ask you something right there on the spot. You are able to connect the dots. You're able to produce an answer, not because you preempted it, but because that's the capacity that you have. And we all need to develop that capacity such that we can be able to think and speak and deliver results on our feet. You see, the world that we live in today, we don't have all the time in the world to go and start preparing to solve problems. When opportunities come, you've got to be prepared, otherwise you'll miss it. And so one of the traits that you need to develop when you find yourself in the middle of those people of influence is to be resourceful. If you are characterized with the trait of inventiveness, you will find people seeking your services all of the time. And the last trait that I think is important to mention here, this is by no means an exhaustive list, is become people-centered. You see, an advisor that knows how to get work done through people will be successful. You can't kill yourself. In fact, you don't even know everything. There are areas of your strength and there are areas of your weakness. And so you've got to know that other people are available to help you. One distinguishing quality you need to have when helping other people to solve their problems is to focus on people as a critical success lever to deliver great results. Being people-centered simply means that you value others and you know how to relate with them to deliver great outcomes. So let me move very quickly, and I'll move a little bit faster now, to talk about the second influencer of your capacity. Remember, today we're talking about unveiling the capacity, your capacity to solve problems. And I've said the first influencer of your capacity is your attributes. The second is your skill. And your skill here refers to your proficiency. And this is where your expertise is expressed. See, friends, it is not enough to have an idea about how to get things done. You must show mastery. It's not enough to have an idea about how to solve a problem. You must show that you are good at it. Your skills are the indicators of your professionalism. And your skills are expressed in three ways. I'll give you three ways wherein your skills can be expressed. Number one is your conceptual skill. We all have got to have conceptual skills, and this is the ability to handle complex situations in a very simple way. You see, friends, the truth is this: many people don't know how to handle complex issues. When issues become very complex and entangled, very knotty, they can't help it. When it becomes very knotty, they can't help it. They can't. They don't even know how to. Right? They don't know how to. And so, when you know how to comprehend and resolve intricate issues, then your value is enhanced. When you know how to comprehend and resolve intricate issues, then your value is enhanced. You must focus on developing the ability that allows you to simplify knotty issues. Okay? And doing this is what I refer to as your conceptual skill. Build that skill that allows you to solve abstract things and make you phenomenal. Number two, skill that you need to develop is your interpersonal skills. You see, it's a skill to know how to value people. It's a skill that we need to learn. Valuing people and managing relationships is an essential ability everyone who's going to solve problems must have. You see, you need to know how to win with people. It's a rare quality. It's a rare quality to know how to win with people. You see, and the people of influence, people in authority, they want to see that you can win through people. You need to develop that ability to attract people to your cause, motivate them to stay on with the vision. You need to also be able to develop them to become ready for future and bigger opportunities. And that skill also requires that you're able to deploy them to wherever they can maximize their abilities to make impact. All right? You need to develop your ability to attract people to your cause, attract them to your cause. Number two, you need to be able to motivate them to stay with the vision. You need to be able to develop them to become ready for future and bigger opportunities. And you need to be able to develop them to where they can maximize their abilities to make impact. The third anchor of your skill is your technical skill. This skill is very specific to your profession or job type. You need to know your craft before you can demonstrate mastery in it. You see, if you are an engineer, a civil engineer, you've got to know civil engineering. If you are a human resource expert, you've got to know human resources. If you are a business development officer, if you are a CFO, if you are a management consultant, you've got to know, because this technical skill, this is the ability that defines your expertise in a particular field. You see, you cannot afford to be a novice in an area you claim to be your place of specialization. You can't afford to be a novice in a place that you have claimed to be your area of specialization. And listen, friends, let me say this. It's not in my notes, but let me say this. For those of you on Zoom watching my notes, I'm reading my notes. It's not on that note, but listen to this. It is practice that makes an apprentice no longer a novice. It is practice, continuous practice. It is continuous practice that makes an apprentice no longer a novice. It transforms him to becoming a master. Okay? So let's look at the third influence of your capacity. The third influence of your capacity is knowledge. First influencer I said is your attributes. The second I said is your skill. The third is your knowledge. You see, your capacity to deliver results is also greatly dependent on what you know. And your knowledge is an expression of your awareness of the facts and information about your business. Your knowledge is an expression of your awareness. Are you aware of the factual things in this business? Are you aware of the factual things in this area? Are you aware of the information, the relevant information in a particular field? And your knowledge becomes very vital to your endeavors, because if you don't know, then what have you got to show? If you don't know, what have you got to show? So your capacity is largely dependent on your knowledge. And let me show you 3 or 4 ways. Yes, 3 ways where your knowledge becomes very vital. Number 1 is value. Your knowledge becomes very vital to your endeavor. Your knowledge becomes very vital to your endeavor when it has value. And when your knowledge has value, the focus here is on what do you know? What exactly do you know? Ladies and gentlemen, the usefulness of your knowledge is in its value to the cause that you're advancing. The usefulness of your knowledge is in its value. Endeavor to acquire knowledge that can contribute. Don't acquire knowledge because you just want to have knowledge. Acquire knowledge that can contribute to realizing the goals and objectives that your target audience desires. The second thing about knowledge is that it must be relevant. And the focus here is, when did you acquire this knowledge? You see, you must possess knowledge that shows connection to the cause that you're part of. Acquire your knowledge such that its usefulness can have a demonstrated bearing on current issues. There's no need saying that you have knowledge and the knowledge is stale. You've got to be fresh. You've just got to be fresh. And that's relevant. And the third element of your knowledge, which is important, is the quality. So there's value, that is the contributory power of what you know. There's relevance, it's about the currency of what you know. Then there's quality, and quality here is about how did you acquire the knowledge. The means by which you obtained your knowledge determines how credible it is. See, friends, the quality of your knowledge is often influenced by the credibility of its source. The method of acquiring your knowledge is important. The method of acquiring your knowledge is very important. And so when we talk about your knowledge as an influencer of your capacity, we're talking about the value, that is, what is the contributory power? Number 2, the relevance, that is, how current is it? Number 3, the quality, to say, how did you achieve it? Number 4, influencer of your capacity is your validations. Your validations. Talking about your validations, you see, friends, you need to prove the validity of your claims of competence. It's not enough to say, I can, I will, I am able. You need to validate it. And it's not enough to say it. You must back it up with proofs. And I'll give you 2 ways to get validation for your competence. Number 1 is your certifications, what we call credentials. So, and this serves as a formal attestation of the knowledge and skills that you've acquired. Your credentials will show your qualifications and your suitability for roles. Show them you've got a bachelor's degree in this, you've got a master's degree in this, you've got a master's degree in that. Just show them that, okay? Number 2 will be references. You need people to affirm that you are who you claim to be. And these people will be your referees. I said here in my note, recommendations are sources of information that are needed to ascertain the validity of your claims. Recommendations are sources of information needed to ascertain the validity of your claims of competence. So, it's not enough to say, I can. Do you have a proof in a certification? And do you have people that can talk about it? Let me close by talking about the fifth influencer of your capacity. And that's about your experience. You see, friends, another way to demonstrate competence is to deliver results. Another way to demonstrate competence that you can deliver results is by situating it on your previous activities. You need to document the things that you have been involved with and courses that you have participated in. These are the things that qualify you for the role in view. Your experience can be acquired from 4 sources. Number 1, internships. I talk about internships here. And this source is often career-based. It requires that you get yourself in a real environment that typifies where you want to serve in future. The second source of experience you want to have is in volunteering. You see, by volunteering, what you do is that you let others have an opportunity of experiencing what you are capable of doing. Okay? When you volunteer, you let others have an opportunity of experiencing what you're capable of doing. Number 3 is what I call start a project. In case you have not been able to get an internship, you're not even able to volunteer, you can start a project by yourself. One way to gain experience is to lead a course. Start something. Be a platform builder. Okay? Identify areas of your life where your passion and skills can be given expression besides formal engagement. And then lead it on. Lead it on. And then the last part where you can gain experience by network. And I'm going to stress this a little bit. You see, we need to learn how to form alliances that build you up. Many people suffer because they don't know what their network can offer. Many people suffer because they don't know what their network can offer. In fact, friends, you don't know what you have until you ask what you know. You don't know what you have until you ask those you know. Let's stop limiting ourselves by staying isolated. And see, in today's world, no one can truly ostracize himself. We are in a system that is interrelated and interdependent. And so that's why we must form networks, because within those networks are gems of experiences that make us better people. And so, having said that, let me just go through how we started today. I said today, part one of this three-part session on becoming a consultant to kings. Part one today is focused on unveiling your capacity to solve problems. And in that, I'm able to identify 5 influencers of your capacity. And I said they are your attributes, your skills, your knowledge, your validations, and your experience. Let me close today with what I call signposts for relevance. Signposts for relevance. What are the things you need to be aware of personally? And remember I said at the beginning that I'll tell you what your capacity should be and what you should do to them. So what should you begin to do to yourself to get ready to solve problems? I've identified for you the things that influence your capacity. Now, what exactly are you to be doing to yourself? One of my favorite teachers, his name is Fred Smith Sr. He's the author of the book, You and Your Network. It's a 1984 book, You and Your Network. In that book, he shares a few insights that I find very relevant for this section. So for me, I'll call this part what I call the signpost for relevance. And I'll give you a few of them. Number one, as you position yourself to be relevant, number one, clarify your definition of success. Clarify your definition of success. You see, if you don't know how to measure success, you can never be able to tell the worth of the outcomes of your personal investments. If you don't know how to measure your success, you can never be able to tell the value of the outcomes of your personal investments. Clarify the definition of your success. Number two thing you need to know is clarify your philosophical base. Clarify your philosophical base. Friends, your pursuit in life must be nurtured by attitudes that will act as guiding principles for your conduct. Your pursuit must be nurtured by attitudes that will act as guiding principles for your conduct. Clarify your philosophical base. Yes, these are the influencers of capacity, but these are the things you need to do to yourself. All right? Number 3 is choose a direction to follow. Choose a direction to follow. You see, friends, of what essence is speed when you're facing the wrong direction? What's the essence of your technical skill if you are committing it to something that is not necessary? Okay? Goals are indicators of where we're headed. So goal setting becomes important for you. Finding a direction in life will require that you explore your natural inclinations, your potentials, your latent abilities, your opportunities around you, and the problems you can solve. Always ensure that you are following a path. And in following a path, 2 things become important: the usefulness and the self-fulfillment. Is it useful to you, or are you useful on the path that you have chosen to follow? And are you fulfilled on that path? The fourth signpost that you need to know, or you need to have, is committing to planning. You see, friends, a plan shows that you have the nerve to be methodical in your pursuits. Many people just stumble on success. Many people stumble on opportunities, and because they are not methodical, they don't know how to sustain, they don't know how to attract, they don't know how to maintain, they don't know how to keep things going. Okay? So you've got to commit yourself to planning. Planning enables you to decide a path to follow in order to achieve your goals. Number 5, signpost for relevance. As you unveil your capacity for influence, number 5 is commit to efficiency. Commit to efficiency. Okay? Commit to efficiency. Time and money seem to be the greatest resources that we have at our disposal. And many people always prioritize money over time. So money is a reward for solving problem, and time is a resource required to solve problem. And so When you fail to protect how you use up your time, you will miss out on the opportunities to solve problems. So commit to efficiency. All right. Number 6 is commit to personal development. Commit to personal development. Friend, no one is good enough to remain the same. Commit to self-improvement. And see, when you read books. You can improve yourself by reading books associated with people of bright minds. And you see, for me, I prefer to read books. And I'll tell you why. It is better to read from someone you admire than to have a conversation with them. It is better to read from someone you admire than to have a conversation with them. And the reason is this. In their writing is a coordinated and well thought out idea. In their writing is a coordinated and well thought out idea. Number 7. Okay, let me say this about personal development. The reading of biographies. If you take your time to read a lot of biographies, guess what will happen to you? You will develop a vocabulary for overcoming incredible odds in life. You will just develop that vocabulary for overcoming incredible odds in life when you read biography, because you will see how people use language in times of trouble, in times of need, and how ultimately the way they spoke, the way they addressed issues gave them victory. Number 7, nurture meaningful relationships. See, friends, pay attention to the people you spend time with. Pay attention to them and never be casual about your relationships. If you want to be an eagle, you can't afford to always hang around turkeys. If you want to be an eagle, you can't afford to hang around turkeys. All right? In nurturing your relationships, choose those above you for insight and those below you for impact. Did you get that? If you, in nurturing relationships, those above you, choose them for insight, and those below you, choose them for impact. And number 8, finally, is nurture a sense of humor. Take time to amuse yourself. You know what, friends? In this fast world that we live in this serious world where we're in the craze and the crave for success and achievement, we move very fast past pleasant things so quickly that we don't notice the beauty that we have missed. Don't take your life too seriously that you forget to share a smile. You know what? Humor is the true reflection of our humanity. Humor is the true reflection of our humanity. I haven't said this, ladies and gentlemen. I want to stop here today, but let me quickly do a very brief recap. And so we're doing a 3-part program on becoming a consultant to kings. And today I've tried to share with you the influencers of your capacity, at the same time the signposts of personal relevance for you. And as I shared those influencers of your capacity, I said your attributes are important, your skills, your knowledge, the validations you get from your certifications and your references, and then the experience that you acquire. And then talking about your signposts, the things you need to begin to do to make you very relevant. Clarify your definition of success so that when you stumble on certain things, you will know what it is to you. All right? Number 2 is clarify your philosophical base. Number 3, choose a direction to follow. Commit to planning. Commit to efficiency. Commit to personal development. Nurture meaningful relationships. And nurture a sense of humor. Now, I'll stop here for today, but let me give you a tip of what's going to happen next week, Friday. Next week, Friday, I'll be showing you the part 2 will be on understanding the needs of those people of influence. What exactly do they need? Now, in part 1, we are focused on you. We've talked about you. Okay? We've talked about you. And what you need to be, how you need to be it. But by next week, we're going to look at the needs of these people. These people of influence have personal needs. So we'll look at their personal needs. And I'll be sharing a lot of examples. Today is just foundation to get you ready to work on yourself. So by next week when we start to talk about these issues, you'll be ready. So we're going to talk about their personal needs, their social circle needs. They have needs around their social circle, their family, their friends, and all of that. Then they have group needs. They're within groups groups of people and all of that. And they have needs around those areas, and they have institutional needs. They are within institutions, they own institutions, or they are leading institutions. They have needs in those areas, and you need to work. You need to get ready for that. And then they are within communities, and they have communal needs. And so we'll talk about the communal needs. And finally, they have societal needs. They want to influence nations. They want to influence groups of nations and all of that. And so next week when we come together again, I'll be showing you how to understand the needs of these people of influence. And in part 3, I'll be unveiling how to capture those needs and solve those needs with very live examples. So for today, the goal is to get you ready to unveil to you your own capacity, what you're capable of doing. And you're phenomenal. You've got tremendous things that you can do. Your attributes, your skills, your knowledge, your validations, and then your experience. And so I want to thank you for sharing your time with me. It's almost an hour that we started. I hope I will be able to take a few questions on Zoom. I'm not sure. I don't know how many questions I can take on Instagram, but we can try it. We can try it. If you have a question, you can share. I can take it, but the presentation is over for today. It's just something very short. Next week, we'll open up the needs of these people. I will show you what I call the portrait of the person of influence. The portrait of the person of influence. Who is this person of influence, and what are his needs, or what are her needs? And so, if you're willing to ask a question, I could take a few questions. If I can, I'll answer. But for today, I think it's just okay. How do we find our philosophical base? Someone is asking on Zoom, how do we find our philosophical base? Whew, Abby, I need to get back to you on that, because it's a whole lot. It's a deep question you've asked me. if you would send me a private message right now on Zoom with how I can reach out to you, I can come to you right after this call and take it on. Just send me something privately on this chat, and I'll take it on from there. Is that okay, Abby? Knowing what drives you with you. All right. Having said that, gentlemen, I think we'll call it a day today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it prepares you for the future. I hope it prepares you for a place of influence that you want to be. I hope it prepares you for the life of impact that you want to have. The truth is, we are more than what people think we are. If only we can look within and draw from our capacities. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you for giving me your time. We meet again Friday, 9 p.m. And when we meet, we will be talking about understanding the needs of the people of influence. I'll be sharing with you the 6 needs of those people of influence, and I'll share with you what I call the portrait of the person of influence. Having said that again, thank you. Thanks to my friend. I'm wearing a NAC shirt for all of my friends who don't know what I'm wearing. I'm dressed up by NAC. So this shirt I'm wearing is by NAC. So and my friend Luto is online. Thank you, Luto, for coming. God bless you so much. We're online, naconline.com, so you can find us there. Thank you, everyone, and God bless you. See you next week, Friday. Now, what I'll do in the course of the week is you'll find a couple of shorts, a couple of posters and banners that would share some of the power phrases that we have shared in this meeting today. The book You and Your Network was a gift given to me by my friend Pastor DJ Akiabiri. That book I recommended, You and Your Network by Fred Smith Sr. was a book given to me by Pastor DJ Akiabiri, and my brother also Wale Fadugba also got me a copy of that book as well. So all right. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'll go now. Thank you. Bye.